Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Wednesday morning, the 13th of November. I want to keep this video as short, as concise as possible, which might help people understanding it, sharing it, even just clicking on it. Sticking with the Delphi case and the conviction of Richard Allen. Many of you will have missed this for various reasons. This is the reason why I'm making this video, because this is incredibly important if you believe that Rick Allen has been unfairly convicted, because you believe he's innocent, he's been framed, he's been made the fall guy for whatever reason. This is really important. If you're thinking, what can I do to help Rick Allen? Well, here's a suggestion.
It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
Before an angry Andrew Baldwin left the courthouse, 13 News overheard him speaking to Richard Allen's wife, saying, "It ain't over. The world's watching. The world sees what's going on."
So last night on Rick Snail's channel, Delphi After Dark, there was a panel discussion of a whole bunch of people. Several of the panel members were actually at the trial at least some days. It was very interesting. And then MichelleAfterDark joined, who is a lawyer. Many of you perhaps will have heard him speak if you've been following the case in recent months. The panel were asking Michael what types of appeal might be available. But it was right at the end, within the last few minutes. And this is the reason why I think the majority of people will have missed it, because people tend to check out before the end of live streams. Most people have got off the panel. Michael stayed. And listen to this.
I suppose there's one thing people could do, and that is get a list of every address an owner in 2017 within about 3 miles of the crime scene. Because that's about, so there's the 7 minutes where there's no movement. And if you figure a car went 25 miles an hour, average 25 miles an hour over that 7 minutes, that's 3 miles.
I heard that and I thought, thank you. Someone has recognised the massive, glaring thing in the timeline. The timeline does not work. I just wish the defence had been better able to communicate the problems with the timeline in the trial. But then again, I'm a Monday morning or a Wednesday morning quarterback. I wasn't one of Rick's lawyers. I'm not a lawyer. I just have some common sense. And Brad Rosie and Andrew Baldwin and Jennifer Auger had done a sterling job, absolutely sterling job. And please don't think that I'm criticising them, but nobody's perfect. And I don't think the defence's case was perfect. I think there was things the defence could have done that they didn't. But this timeline tells us everything we need to know. What you're seeing on your screen is a timeline that the state wanted the jury to believe. And clearly the jury believed it, or at least didn't question it, didn't think it was important, perhaps. These are the timings from Libby's phone and her health data, the Apple Health app. Around 700 metres, which takes you from the trailhead to the middle of the bridge. That's accurate. Then you've got this 414 metres between 208 and 218. 10 minutes where they walked 414 metres. 120 metres approximately is from the middle of the bridge to the south end of the bridge. Then you've got 294 metres which cannot be explained by the state's timeline, because up to at least 2:27, they were still on the south side of the bridge because of Brad Webber's van coming home and supposedly disturbing Richard Allen and his evil plot to SA, Abby and Libby. So that would have meant they were still at the south side of the bridge at 2:27. However, 2:18 to 2:25, there's no movement, and the pro-guilters will say, yeah, that's because he was essaying them at that point, or at least trying to. But no, because then, when he gets disturbed, he crosses over the creek and goes up the other side and decides to stab them in the throat. But how did he get there? Because you've only got 50 metres or 68 steps and 2 floors climbed. Well, neither of those makes sense. If you're still at the south side of the bridge at 2:27, that's not enough steps, not enough distance, and you're not going to register 2 floors climbed. You need the 294 metres, but that's already been and gone. It doesn't make sense. So, this is an alternate theory, and many people, including the defence team, believe that the girls were not murdered at 2:32 in the PM of February 13th, 2017. They were actually taken away, held for several hours, and then brought back and killed. And that would then throw the entire case wide open, because certain Odinists who said that they had alibis wouldn't have alibis anymore. What if Abby and Libby were taken from the trails and brought back later? Well, the timeline, which is now hardwired, this is hardwired. You can't take away this timeline now. It's hardwired into the case. Whether you like it or not, it's hardwired. Because both the state expert, Chris Cecil, if you want to call him an expert, but also Eldridge, who was the defence expert, who's ex-FBI, arguably way more expert than Chris Cecil, she confirmed that these distances that have been recorded by Libby's phone were accurate. Within reason, there's always some margin of error, but only a small one, especially where steps are concerned. So again, 700 metres from the trailhead to the middle of the bridge. 120 metres approximately from the middle of the bridge to the end. Then, 294 metres walking to a vehicle. Could be a bit less because no one ever walks in an absolute straight line, and there is some margin of error. So it could be a maximum of 294 metres. Could only be 200 metres. A car inconspicuously parked at the south side of the bridge. Okay. Then, phone not moving due to vehicle travel. A 7-minute drive, because the phone is moving, but it's in a car. So unless you're on a really bumpy track, it's not going to record any steps. 7-minute drive at an average of 25 miles an hour is a 3-mile radius. This is what a 3-mile radius looks like. And then the 50 metres makes sense, get into the vehicle, into a building, and then 2 floors climbed makes sense. I would say potentially that's either 2 floors climbed, or it's a floor climbed, come back down, which doesn't register on an iPhone, and then climbed again. Or it could be up a ladder into, let's say, an attic, or, the second floor of a barn, which tend to be quite high. So climbing up a ladder would definitely register. I've done experiments with my phone. You will have seen them if you've been paying attention to my videos. iPhones do not record going down hills or going down steps. They only record going up. They record the incline. Okay, so what you can do, if you've been in this case for a long time, right from the beginning, this will be easier for you. But collate your screenshots, anything that you took. They are the most important pieces of evidence in relation to this, this aspect of the case. Save everything, keep everything, sleuth everything. Every address within a 3-mile radius. Who was living there in 2017? Now, it covers the whole of Delphi. Is it likely that the girls were taken to a house in downtown Delphi? It's probably less likely than out in the sticks somewhere, where they could be held in maybe a house that didn't have neighbours overlooking, or a barn. And I'm not saying that it would be the landowner or the property owner who would be at fault here. You know, somebody could have held the girls on a property that they knew wasn't occupied. It wasn't their property, but it wasn't occupied. But that's the place to start. So if you want to do something that's productive and you're good at sleuthing, that's the place to start. What do you think to that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Okay.